All right, let's dive into one of the most incredible stories in all of science, the journey of how we're made. It's a process that's, both mind-bogglingly complex and at its core beautifully simple. So whether you're getting ready for exams or you're just curious about the miracle of life, we're going to break it all down right from the very beginning.
It really all comes down to this one amazing question. How on earth do we go from a single microscopic cell to a fully formed person? It's a journey with so many unbelievable steps, and by the end of this, you'll see exactly how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So let's get started. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get the big picture, the blueprint for life, you could say. Then, we'll explore the male and female systems, the hardware involved. After that, we'll zoom in to see how sperm and eggs are actually created, understand the monthly cycle, and then follow that incredible journey from a single cell all the way to birth. And to top it all off, we'll wrap up with the exam essentials you'll definitely want to remember. Okay, let's start with the master plan. The best way to think about this is like a series of dominoes. They all have to fall in the exact right order. Each and every step is absolutely crucial for the next one to happen. It all kicks off with gametogenesis. That's just a fancy word for making the two most important cells, the sperm and the egg, or ovum. Then you've got insemination, which is getting the sperm where it needs to go. After that, if all goes well, we have fertilization, that magical moment when the two cells fuse. The next critical step is implantation, where this new little embryo attaches to the uterus. And that starts the 9-month journey of gestation. You know it as pregnancy. And the whole process culminates in parturition, which is the scientific term for childbirth. So now that we have the roadmap, let's look at the incredible biological machinery that makes it all possible. We're talking about the male and female reproductive systems. Okay, for males, the primary organs are the testes. Think of them as the sperm-producing factories. For females, it's the ovaries, which produce the egg, or ovum. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is a key difference to remember. In males, sperm production is a nonstop, continuous process that starts at puberty. But for females, it's a totally different story. The process of making eggs actually begins before a female is even born, and then it just pauses until puberty. That's a super important distinction. So let's get a closer look at the male system. The testes are the sperm factors, right? And they're housed in the scrotum, which acts like a natural air conditioner, keeping everything at the perfect temperature for making healthy sperm. The accessory ducts, well, they're like the highway system that transports the sperm, and the accessory glands produce the fluid that nourishes and protects them on their long journey. And now for the female system. The ovaries are where the eggs are produced. When an egg is released, it travels down the fallopian tube, and that, right there, is usually where fertilization happens. If the egg is fertilized, it continues on to the uterus, which will be its cozy home for the next 9 months. And of course, the mammary glands are ready to provide milk for the baby after birth. We've seen the big picture, and we've looked at the anatomy, so now let's zoom way in, right down to the cellular level. How are these sperm and egg cells actually made? Well, the whole process is called gametogenesis, and honestly, it's fascinating. In males, this process is called spermatogenesis, and it kicks off at puberty. It starts with these cells called spermatogonia, which are diploid. That just means they have a full set of chromosomes. Through a really special type of cell division called meiosis, one of these starter cells ends up producing 4 sperm cells, and each of those is haploid, meaning it has exactly half the chromosomes. The key takeaway? One starting cell becomes 4 fully functional sperm. Now, oogenesis, or egg formation, is a whole different ballgame. Like we said, it starts before a female is even born. All the potential eggs are made and then just put on hold. Then, after puberty, one of these cells gets the signal to continue its development each month. But here's the really cool part. The cell division is unequal. Instead of 4 identical cells, you get one giant egg cell that hogs all the nutrients in cytoplasm, and then a tiny little thing called a polar body that basically gets discarded. It's nature's way of making sure the future embryo gets the best possible head start. So let's recap those key differences, because this is a classic exam topic. For spermatogenesis, it's continuous from puberty onwards. For oogenesis, it starts in the fetus and happens in cycles. The outcome is totally different too. 4 equal sperm versus just 1 large ovum. And the reason for that is the unequal division we just talked about. It's all about giving that one egg a nutrient-packed advantage. That cyclical nature of egg development brings us perfectly to our next topic, the menstrual cycle. This is the monthly rhythm that prepares the female body for a potential pregnancy, and it's this amazing dance between hormones and physical changes.
The cycle starts with the menstrual phase. That's when the lining of the uterus is shed. Next up is the follicular phase, where a new egg starts to mature inside a follicle in the ovary. Then around day 14, we get the main event, ovulation, when the egg is actually released. And finally, we have the luteal phase, where the uterus preps for a potential pregnancy. If that doesn't happen, the lining breaks down and the whole cycle starts over again.
So what's conducting this whole orchestra? Hormones, of course. FSH starts to rise early on, which gets the egg follicle growing. As that follicle grows, it pumps out estrogen, which peaks right before the middle of the cycle. But the real star of the show is LH, luteinizing hormone. That massive surge of LH around day 14, that's the green light. It's the direct trigger for ovulation to happen. It's just a beautifully coordinated system.
So, the egg has been released. If there are sperm waiting, we're ready for the next chapter in this incredible story. The journey from a single fertilized cell to a brand new human being. This is the moment. Fertilization. It's when a single sperm fuses with the egg, and this creates what's called a zygote, a single cell that now has all the genetic instructions needed to build a new person. And this amazing event usually happens in a very specific spot in the fallopian tube.
The moment fertilization happens, that zygote starts dividing and dividing and dividing, all while it's traveling down towards the uterus. It turns into a little solid ball of cells called a morula, and then it becomes a hollow ball called a blastocyst. And it's this blastocyst that finally burrows into the wall of the uterus, officially kicking off the pregnancy. The 9 months of pregnancy or gestation are just a time of incredible transformation. I mean, think about it. In the very first month, the heart is already formed and starts beating. By the end of month 2, you have limbs and fingers and toes. By the end of the first trimester, most of the major organ systems are there. It's just amazing. And after 9 months of this incredible development, the fetus is fully ready to be born.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's finish up by boiling it all down to the most important points, the things you absolutely, positively need to know, especially for your exams.
This table right here is your cheat sheet for all the key hormones. Just remember, FSH and LH are the master controllers from the pituitary gland. Androgens, like testosterone, are all about driving sperm production. Estrogen and progesterone are the managers of the menstrual cycle and pregnancy. And finally, oxytocin is the one that gets things moving during childbirth. And here are a few more key terms to lock into your memory. Parturition is just the scientific name for childbirth. The placenta is that amazing life support organ that connects the mother and fetus. Colostrum is that all-important first milk, absolutely packed with antibodies to protect the newborn. And here's a crucial fact. It's the sperm that determines the baby's sex, depending on whether it carries an X or a Y chromosome. And that last point brings us to a really important final thought. We've seen the science, right? We know for a fact that it's the sperm that determines the sex of a baby. So why is it so important for us, as a society, to understand and share this basic biological fact? It's a powerful reminder that knowing science isn't just for passing exams, it can challenge harmful myths and make a real difference in the world.